Hello and welcome to the PolyInnovator YouTube channel. I guess I used to call it PolyInnovator, but nowadays I just kind of make it just PolyInnovator at this point, make it simple. And this is the Now page update for August 2024. I was actually going to skip this video, which I think I've only done once for the most part out of doing all these different series. But, I thought about it last year. I was deathly ill and I still managed to make one of these videos. I'm going to do it now. You might be able to hear it from my voice. I'm a little bit scraggly. I'm a little bit not doing great. Like I'm kind of under the weather a little bit, I feel like. So it's one of those things where I didn't want to make the video just because I'm tired, but and not feeling good. But it's fine. These videos are mainly just meant to update you on my personal professional lives. And while the blog post did pretty well, I think that there's probably some other things that I'm thinking about that I probably won't remember until I'm actually talking about it. Because while I do like writing, that's where a lot of my flow comes into, sometimes on camera more things come out. Over the course of my content creator life, I have not made that much money off of my content. I think a lot of that's just been due to my philosophy, focusing more on just making good content, monetizing later. Well, now later's here, and I need to do that now. And the way I still want to do it, still the same, is focusing on books and courses and just digital products, maybe physical products down the line. If I get big enough, I'll do some merch. But recently, I finished the first chapter of my How to Swim book. And you might think I should be farther along than that, but over the years, I've mainly just worked little bits and pieces throughout all the chapters. And I actually had to rearrange a couple chapters too, because it just didn't really make sense in the order of things. So I managed to get that done, and that's a big deal. I now have a lot of blog posts that I need to get done still. Over the last 4 years, I've never really caught up on my solo posts. Back in the day, I used to have this series called the Omni content or Poly content, depending on which timeline you are in. But that series was a blog post, video, and podcast all in one. So every episode would be all three content types. And while the series didn't have a particular topic, the series was that strategy. I would do all three, and all three would get repurposed. And so every episode was my approach to like the Gary Vee content model, trying to do everything. And I think that there's probably a better way for me to do that down the line, and maybe I'll start doing that more in the future. But for the most part, I wanted to create a series, and I started doing it, and I had a lot of mini series that I wanted to do in that big overarching series. So those mini series would be episodic, each episode being the same kind of topic but a different angle. And so like I had this idea, or a whole list of ideas. And over the last couple of years, I've caught up quite a bit, but I still have over like 1,000 blog post ideas I need to get done. And while some of them went into videos, one of those, like some of the poly content stuff actually went into the blog post category, and some of them went into the video category. And so there was a 4 Pillars mini series that I actually have almost ready to go. I'm going to start working on it again here soon and get that out. But then most of the series actually kind of just went towards the blog post and just making some blog posts. So I decided to take the same approach I did with my TikTok shorts and reels, which was I have these different batches that I want to do, and I organize priority based on which batch. Doesn't really matter within that batch which one goes out first per se, but I wanted to have an organizational structure, and I figured this is the easiest way to kind of go about that. So professionally, that's kind of what's going on. Honestly, too, I don't really have a job right now, which is kind of crazy. I had that remote job, but there was a couple different things that I just didn't like. Like in order for security level clearance, you had to have like something installed on your computer. And since this is my personal computer, I didn't want to have essentially spyware on there. And while they had to do it for enterprise clients, I was like, I don't want to deal with that. And it was also just the workload, and I didn't have the bandwidth for it. So I left the remote job very amicably, like everyone was all on the same page. We're all good. But that was a good income, and it was, good employees, good people. But I need to find something new now, and swim lessons are about to end. Every summer I've always done swim lessons, and hopefully when I move down to Austin, I'll be able to do more. But that's not really the goal. I don't want to teach more swim lessons. I just want that to have the option. And karaoke actually is out of the picture. I'm not sure if I explained it much in the blog post, but essentially I got screwed over twice. And while maybe I'm just being too sensitive, I felt like it was pretty much injustice about what happened. And I was like, I didn't want to deal with that. I'm not going to be in an environment where my time and effort's not appreciated, at least by the people that like have power over things. And so, like, I got, for example, the second time I got screwed over, I got offered a job to run karaoke permanently on 2 different nights of the week. And then within a day later, the offer was rescinded. And it wasn't even like my fault or anything like that. They just had something else they didn't check first. And so then I got screwed over, and I was like, okay, I'm not dealing with that. So no more karaoke. Swim lessons about to end. No more remote job. So for the first time in my life, for the first time, I don't have a job lined up, or I don't have a backup job, especially, which is a weird feeling for me. I'm still pretty excited. I'm not nervous about it. Ironically, I'm a little bit like hesitant, like, oh, what's gonna happen? But that gives me an opportunity to do anything really at that point. I don't have anything holding me back. At one point, I wanted to work at a wine cellar, a place, because it was a really cool environment. It would have paid well, especially at the time I needed the money. But due to my classes at the ARC, which was the facility, recreation facility I worked at for so long, I couldn't overlap those two. And I decided to stay with my classes because of my people who I was loyal to. But that kind of hindered my progress when it came to having enough money. But now that I don't have that limitation anymore, it's kind of like freeing. Personally, I am just climbing the walls. I need to move to Austin at this point. Again, I've said this to people before. I don't care if I stay there for a year, 20 years, my whole life. I need to go there. I need to have the experience of living there. I need to have the experience of meeting all the people there, because there's tons of people I want to meet. There's tons of companies I want to maybe go look at and go work at. And so there's tons of different things I want to do. Not to mention conferences and just like the better climate in general. And so I just know for a fact I need to go down there and just see how it goes. And if it doesn't work out, I'll move to Singapore or Barcelona or something like that. But if it does work out, then I'll be happy down there for a while. And at least that way I'm still decently close to my family. I'm only south. I'm not like across the country. So other than that, I don't really have anything else to tell you guys. But hopefully I feel better soon. And then, yeah, thanks for being here and cheers.